Another one of those days. Or these days. Or this individual day. Or maybe this day is different than the last. Mostly because we moved about 10 feet. Through our known universe. It's about 10 feet, 10 feet a day, I guess. Something like that. It's a really slow rotation.
To work or not to work?
I turn it down. It's at 34. There we go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'll do some stunts.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat, Oscar.
Good. There's another shipment coming in by plane. The drop site is over near the Sonora National Park. Local runners got a good grip on that area, so watch your back.
You got it.
Okay. Where's it at? It's over there. Which way do I take? I take this way, probably. Alright, cool. Let's go. Shit. Go back up, back up, back up. Yay. So, thinking about topics and junk, stuff like that. Thinking about lots of stuff, lots of things. I don't know where we want to go in life, you know, like ambitions. Well, that's a good one. Where do I want to go? Let's see.
I got cops after me.
I think that my ambitions are to such douchery.
Yeah,
I think that
I'm in the hot seat, Oscar.
Good. There's another shipment coming in by plane. The drop site is over near the Sonora National Park. Local runners got a good grip on that area, so watch your back.
You got it.
I think that my ambitions are to not just to make a name for myself, but to make a name for what I want to make. I see so many other people making what they want to make and doing what they want to do, and it not only inspires me, but it pushes me a little bit sometimes. It makes me want to be. It makes me want to be independent too. And I know that I'd be in competition with those people constantly. I mean, and also too, that means that in certain ways I'd be able to collaborate with some people, or if those places go through, I mean, I don't know. I gotta see through all the mess of what I'm trying to see or what I'm trying to do. I want to see. Oh man, I see those fight scenes in my head so much. They're just freaking there, man.
Be blessed to know I have the package.
Bastards didn't even get a look in.
I think most of the time what I'm ready to make and what I'm ready to do for myself is I'm ready to start believing again in myself. I'm ready to start using the therapeutic ways of people around me sometimes to, because like, I don't know, it doesn't take a lot for me to get my hopes back up, you know? Whenever it doesn't take a lot for me to, say to keep going and to keep moving, I guess. At least not anymore. It used to take a lot. It used to take a whole bunch, and I think that when I was ready to start making it on my own and do things on my own, I realized kind of at like 15, 16 that a job would be a really good idea, I guess, and
That was entirely your fault.
and yeah, I'm going in the wrong direction, but that's cool. Just trying to lose the cops a little bit. Yeah. $5,000. I think a lot of times I've looked at what other people can get, and I've like this. I don't know. I just didn't believe it, I guess. Sometimes, you know. It's not that I didn't believe it. It's that I was given so little sometimes, I guess. I was given enough, and I experienced being very poor, and but all that gave me an idea for something. When I was about 12, I realized that I could make my own ideas. When I was about like 10 or something like that, I was starting to realize and starting to get into my actual like I was starting to read things, and I was starting to try to make sense of different words, and I wasn't really like consuming exactly what I wanted to consume, but I realized that I wanted a variable that wasn't around sometimes, and I started to realize that I was a bit of an enthusiast, I guess. I started to realize that I liked stuff that was kind of not just supernatural or occult or anything like that, but I realized that I like stories that had more substance than just protagonist goes through something, he bonds with everyone, and then everyone has a great day, or like the antagonist puts the protagonist through something, and it's like it was always somebody's fault. That's what I saw in the 90s, basically. It was always something that was like with even the music, I guess, sometimes. It was always someone else's fault. It's like there's always somebody to pass the buck, you know? That's what I got from the 90s sometimes, because what people didn't understand is
How did you not see me?
what people didn't understand is I saw a lot of people try to say that something was someone else's fault. It's like there's always someone, and it's like then I started to realize that I needed to research in order to be able to find out who did and whose fault it actually was. Or, I mean, all the situations that were happening during the world, and all the stuff that I was actually seeing, and even though my mom thought she was actually sheltering me, I mean, she really didn't do a great job. I mean, not to say that that's a bad thing, because that was actually what pushed me on to make my own story and to make what I actually wanted to make. It was inspired by a whole bunch of different people. I have to thank Spawn, I guess, for doing that cartoon series on HBO that I would sneak over by my friend's house and watch. Or all those things that happened, like my friends that I realized that weren't that great of friends, and also teachers I thought were gonna stay that way forever or do whatever they wanted to do forever, but people change, and it's true that people change. It's very true. I really knew that people changed because people's actions always change. If people's actions always change, then oh god dang it, I had a pint of ice cream, and it was delicious because I do not feel what's the word, I don't feel guilty about it at all. It was called Mississippi Debris, and it was delicious.
Okay, empty the register now.
Okay, don't do anything stupid.
Thank you.
You have taken all the money.
Only $781. Dang it. So I always thought that that through my own ambitions I wouldn't find that much, because I didn't find it to where, like, I was always too much about myself, kind of like wanting to find a way to be able to come up with a new original idea. And I wasn't always the one to be like, hey, this is an amazing series or story, I'm gonna go really hardcore into it. And no, I was that way about music. And but when I realized that I was into stories and the way that they were, I got into comic books, and I realized that the story itself, it lived on through me, and I got inspired by it, and I would change my ideas constantly. I'm not much of a collector, but I do like posters, so love posters, love them. I love posters, and because I can always look at what they are, and I can always see that they mean something to me. Like, I can always see exactly what it means, and it doesn't change too much, I guess, over time. I think that in itself, a lot of stories changed the way that I saw things in a perspective. With the way that I saw my own situation, and the way that I saw people around me, you know. And I think that's the way that stories kind of brought to life stuff that I really wanted to see. Like, an entire person puts their life's work into something that they think someone else would be cool. It would be cool if somebody else saw. It's like, that in itself makes it all worth it to me. If I was to, like, be able to share my ideas with someone, and to be able to think that whew, I gotta breathe more often. Whew. Whew. The altitude up here in New Orleans. Oh. Oh. Being ambitious is like, is sometimes like, I'm afraid sometimes to actually say how ambitious I am, because it's a double-edged, it's a double-edged candle sword that burns and stings and a whole bunch of, it's a double-edged candle sword owl. Yeah, owl eagle. It's a huge freaking euphemism and metaphor that constantly bites, and sometimes you tell your ideas to someone and they're like, I think that's stupid. Like, okay, that we can work with it, because I mean, I've done other ideas before. I've had other ideas, and also had people who were serious about what they really wanted to do, and they wound up doing something completely amazing, but not with me, because I really wanted to not be like creatively controlled, I guess. I like to have some free reign, but also too, I like to collaborate, and I like to see ideas and stuff like that, and like I like to see people's ideas first, and sometimes that's not happened. I've noticed that a lot of times people think that they're the ones in control, or they're the ones that are like, ah ha ha, you're cool and stuff like that, and they like, I don't know, I don't get it, like they, I just get it, I get all freaking I get pushy, you know. I get like and people try to push my buttons for some reason, thinking that I'll react the way they want them to. And I'm like, yeah, you can push my buttons for a little while, and I'll be like, oh my god, that's terrible, horrendous. How could you do something like that? And then they'll be like, ha, I made you smirk or not smirk, or I made you seem disgusted. And it's just like, wow, that's really something. That's really something there. But that you can do that, amazing. I have morals, you don't. That's weird. That's so weird. It's like, I don't get it, you know. I don't get it sometimes, and I don't get sometimes when people think that they know exactly what they're doing, I guess. They think they know, like, they think they know someone, like, full on, or they think that they can pinpoint this person's personality if they've pinpointed one person's personality before. Understandably so. I mean, if a person's got, like, pushing to you like an open book, that's a good thing. Like, if they're ready to and willing to start making a difference in your life, or in their own lives, then that's the thing that you really need to go for. I think that a lot of times through my own ambition and things like that, I've met people that had their own agenda, and through that, if they had their own agenda, that's completely fine. I don't hold any grudges or anything like that. I don't try to hold any grudges, at least. But also too, in the same sense, if I find out that you've been trying to manipulate me or something like that to do something that you want me to do, then I don't really respond well to it. Like, my ambitions kind of run into people, run into roadblocks, I guess, and those roadblocks so happen to sometimes be people's personalities that think that they're the ones that come up with the ideas, and it's like, you know who the real guy is, right? And it's like, no, the real guy, you're a guy, you're a real guy, yeah, you're real. This isn't the Matrix. It never was. There was no such thing as the Matrix. If you think that your reality is what's the word, is fantastic or anything like that, then you're wrong. It may be fabricated by someone else, I mean, obviously, people fabricate. That's like, I don't get it sometimes. It's like you know that the Matrix is a euphemism for parents, basically. It's for people who don't have. It's for the children who don't have don't have parents. Like the children without families, basically, that's the euphemism for the Matrix. It's like a bunch of people who decided that they didn't want a period or a person or a thing to define them. They went out and set out on their own, and once they set out on their own, they were disowned by whatever person that was holding or being around them. And this in itself, sometimes they say that's the thought box. It's like, no, sometimes this stuff is keeping people sane, and that's a good thing. And I just landed it, but I failed it. It's okay. Oh, dang it. Just trying to jump up on a thing. But yeah, through my own ambitions, I've seen a lot of people try to make it, and then through those ambitions try to change something. Like all they want to do is affect someone or something. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how they're doing it. They just want change of some kind, and they want change they want to know change, basically. They want to know a difference because they've experienced so much of the same so often. But understandably so, it's like how can you say that you want change when you live in a type of ongoing and constant variations? Like, basically, people themselves, they want to see change, but they don't want to experience it. So it's like every single experience that you experience, you want it to be consistent, right? With a business or anything like that. You want it to have a consistency. You want it to be able to. You want to be able to realize some sort of normalcy within a company or within any sort of thing. Like, realize that the companies that we make define as us as children, and are the companies we make define us later on in life, and it defines sometimes people's entire existences. And that's not petty or pussy-like or any sort of like shit. I ran into a little thing. Did not know that was there. It blended in with the rest of the horizon. I think that a lot of times what I've experienced has not cut me off, but made me wary, I guess, of telling my idea to too many people. I really think that people don't understand the right way to experience life, because we haven't experienced what a full repertoire of what the civilization, or any civilization for that matter, because exists. I don't know, like we can, everyone wants to manufacture and do a bunch of different stuff and be the person that they want to be, but shit, I think I fucked up the car. Yeah, I fucked it up. I think most of the time what people don't really understand about what people don't understand about what they really want to do with themselves, I guess. It's like the more we put into words what we want with our lives, the more we're seen with we're surrounded by unforeseen events. The more we're surrounded by options and different things and I'd say that those options turn into roadblocks sometimes once we hit a certain point. And you want to see the right people sometimes. You want to understand that. Had to take my belt loose. It's time to relax and play video games and talk about stuff. I've understood for a long time that, at least since I was very young, not a long time, I guess, because I'm not that old. I'm 30, so it's just...
You only have yourself to blame.
For a good while now. That's a better word. A good while. Son of a bitch. I find it so hard to to communicate to people what I actually want to do with myself, what I actually want to make with myself. I did stop drinking Monster, so I stopped drinking Monster and I started drinking protein shakes, and that's it. So, I found it, God damn it. As far as my ambition goes, I'm beating around the bush, trying to say some stuff. As far as my ambition goes, I want to make new projects, and I want to start making new stuff available to me. And whether I have anyone's help with it or not is we're gonna turn this TV this way, and then I get inspired by just the coolest music, I guess. Like I don't know. My words get jumbled up sometimes, and I want to be able to. I want to be able to. I want to be able to push towards towards a goal, and that goal is for me to
For fuck's sakes.
for me to build on something, you know? Anything. I just want to create, I want to create so badly, and it's just... There's so much that I want to do, and there's so many people that I want to either become friends with or rivals, and because it keeps things going, it keeps people going, it keeps economies going. There's so much I want to be a part of, and there's so much I want to do and say, and I don't want to give my opinion on constantly everything because I'm not exactly an open book, but I'm pretty close, and I like to see sometimes that I like to see sometimes that that my stuff matters too. I want to be able to matter to an audience because I don't know. I guess I'm judgmental on myself a lot. And I think that if I got someone else's opinion about it, then I wouldn't be so harsh on myself. Someone else's, like, positive opinion about it. Not like...
What the?
Someone that was secure in themselves. I guess secure in not only their life, I guess, but monetarily, and I guess that's what I'm looking for and what I want to do with myself, and like in a relationship and a mate, I guess. Someone who's secure in themselves, that's not too afraid to be open, but also isn't gonna show me everything at once, you know? I don't want to chase or anything like that. I'm not a predator or anything. You know, like a deviant or anything like that. Like, I'm not not to say that those people are deviants, but I'm not like a I don't enjoy chasing. I enjoy relaxing and enjoying. If someone wants to enjoy something with me, if someone wants to relax with me, and that's cool. But as soon as they start telling me their problems and telling me everything about them, then I expect them to tell me in an adult manner, you know? Or else I get standoffish, and I think that like, and I don't constantly shut them out or anything like that, or I don't permanently shut them out of my life, I think, but I just I want to push through to new ideas, and I want to make sure that those new ideas include people, and unless those people include me in their lives, unless those people include me in what they really want and who they really are, then it's like I want someone to be comfortable, and I want to build on that relationship, but I know that's a slow build-up, you know. And there's people that I would so often say that that there's something meaningful when someone can slowly go into a relationship or slowly move towards a goal, I guess, and be like, I want to move towards this, I want to do something like this, and I want to do it with you. It's like, there's that. It's just my ambitions to everything, I guess, as far as everything goes, or as far as everything is pertaining to my goals and what I really want to do with myself. I've studied a lot of stuff, and I know a lot of things, and I also want to learn how to apply those things to a lot of different things, and just be able to.
That is beyond annoying.
But I don't want to do it in the classroom. I want to go back to school if it has anything to do with what my job is pertaining to. But I don't want to constantly be in a classroom. It was mind-numbing for me to be in a classroom when I was younger. I literally hurt myself, like wrote on my body with a pencil, and did it to where it broke the skin because of the mind-numbingness of people just making you sit down and having to go to the bathroom in intervals and shit, and just all that stuff just made me just hate everything about school. I gotta unplug Alexa. Not to say that that I prefer not going to school. I prefer like I prefer something like.
How did you not see me?
But I just that was a really good burp. I think most of the time when I see myself doing something like that pertains to being somewhere in my life, I want to be there and I want to be relaxed. I want to be. It doesn't bode well for me to be able to, or to be inside a classroom constantly trying to find out the meaning of something, and but I do find that kind of mindset intriguing, I guess, and God damn it. The engine was in the back, I forgot. And I gotta move the TV back. Oh, man. Oh. I found out so many times my limitations and where my limitations were. That's all I ran into, and I think that the more that I break the bank with school, the more I'm going to find more limitations. The more that I find out I'm breaking the bank with anything, the more that I'm pushing not wanting to be somewhere in my life. we go. Yay. I found out that a lot of different atrocities stop people from making things, and found out that a lot of different atrocities stop people from doing things that they really want to do with themselves, how they want to be able to create. And I don't want to run into any of those roadblocks.
Oh, give me a break.
I don't want to run into any of those roadblocks when I start creating, and I don't want to start making something for me, you know? Even if my story gets adapted from someone else's stuff and I don't get paid enough, basically, I'm gonna say that, that story at least made it to people and got them inspired about making more stuff. And once people and the creators, I guess, start getting in, making an initiative to be able to create more and be independent, they're gonna come up with more ideas than just YouTube and I feel inspired sometimes, so much so that I really do appreciate this platform. It helps me express my anguish, my pain, my selfishness, and my anger, and my I said anger, but okay, yeah. I find out there are more to situations than I plan for, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't feel as though I'm ready sometimes, and when I find out that I'm ready, I purposely don't do anything sometimes. So that's what I need to stop doing, and I need to start making something for myself, and being not only a dude that plays GTA and Dark Souls and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But there are, I say, reasons for people and things that I believe that I'm trying to become and make and influence and create with and do a bunch of different stuff, like, and not on YouTube that much, because I don't really consider myself a part of the YouTube community as much, I guess. I really don't. I don't consider myself that. I wound up creating stuff on like platforms that just I know that a lot of things are computer generated and printed on stuff, and people did things by hand for a really, really long time, and that's why they got so good. And I think that my production level is kind of up there, I guess, sometimes. Like, I've done it since I was 5 years old. God damn it. Fucking gosh. I died again. Oh well. And not only do I run into constant freaking obstacles and things like that just because of the place that I'm at, obviously, the South, and but also too, I run into constant things that, like, that people don't know how to they think that everything is a little cubbyhole. Basically, there's like, this is where that I'm gonna do this stuff, and this is where I'm gonna do this stuff, and people are gonna come see me, or people aren't gonna come see me, and I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's cool, that's awesome, until you have to pay your rent or your bills, and you have to find out that, there's
citizens report a vehicle theft on Alhambra Drive.
And you have to find out that or even if you're not paying rent, even if you're just starting out, like if you're like 15 or 16 years old, you find things really cool and like you're doing stuff, or you're making sure that media is like the way it is, and you're just starting out. Because I learned really quickly that people don't like you, no matter who you are, no matter what you do. See, some people just don't like you and won't like you for who you are, basically. No matter how much you talk to them, no matter how much you say stuff to them, they'll just wind up hating you and pushing you to the because they think they're better. It's what everyone does. It's what everyone that thinks they know what they're talking about does. And I've been victim to that sometimes. And I've tried to not be a perpetrator of that. But people aren't going to listen if they don't listen. People aren't going to say things if... People aren't going to say that they want to create a place where everyone can be and then just start criticizing whoever they want to, however they want to create a stigma in a community to be able to control it through backlash and you say that there's freedom of speech, and but also too, I can say how loud I want to that there's a woman out there that's beautiful and she's hot, or I say a word and she says that, oh, I don't like the way you said that word, and I'm just like, okay, bye, have a good day, take it the way you want to. But I think that when we start investing in what people are saying around us, I think our ambitions start to lose fire, or we start to lose our fire inside of us, and we start to push towards see, it's like there's a market out there sometimes in Texas and a whole bunch of different other places about being inside and seeing a story that you're not usually seeing something that you're not usually doing. But I wanted to go on adventures, man. I wanted to do stuff that was fun. I wanted to go on constant, like, awesome stuff. I wanted to do things. I wanted to go like find gold somewhere. God damn it.
Citizens reporting a pedestrian-involved accident on Marina Drive.
Wonderful. Yeah, my tax dollar's hard at work.
I found out that there was a place where, and in some ways it made me see a new reality, I guess, being stuck indoors sometimes, because actually going on all those adventures was kind of dangerous, and my mom would get pissed off at me if I broke my leg, which I did sometimes. Not sometimes, but well, at least once. I wanted to do stuff. I wanted to make stuff happen. I wanted to be one of the people in the not the trenches, but like in the thick of it, being a part of a story that's kind of being a part of a narrative that's constantly going, or something like that. My dad actually went to football and thought that was a good narrative until he started realizing the business of it, and he thought that the business itself was he thought it was shady, I guess. But yes, that is awesome. I'm gonna land on my feet. Nah, damn it. I found out that a lot of times you can't force people to do what they don't want to do. God damn it. God dang it. Oh, whatever. I I think a lot of times what people really don't understand about themselves is that they really wish things were different. They really wish the way that they went outside and experienced the world was like a different way. And they start to get old, and people start to realize that there aren't that many adventures to go out on, or at least adventures that vary, I guess, or there aren't any like procedurally procedurally generated environments. That's why people have video games, and that's why I have video games, because it was actually a huge deal or a thing that actually happened, and like if the training room was actually real, then I probably wouldn't be playing these games. Like, that would be way more cool and way more fun to me. I've always wanted to be a part of the story rather than to be on the outside of it, the inside. And no matter anyone wants to compare me to Ready Player One, I am going to say that was my original idea, and nobody can tell me different because I'm in the South. Nobody says shit in the South sometimes, and I'm different or something. There's a lot less percentage of people who actually talk about certain things that they do talk about in the South than what they do on any other place, and people quiet. They think that quiet is good, and sometimes you have to understand that the bugs are actually a blessing, and that's the reason why I liked camping. And I went out camping, had fun, and I wanted to have fun, and no one was gonna make me no one was gonna make me not like camping. Not even my dad, who told me that snipe hunting was a thing. and then we all just started hunting him, basically as he was walking down a path, knowing that we were in the woods watching him. My dad plans stuff. My dad's really like, he's methodical. I don't know, he's not maniacal, but he's methodical. He does a method to doing pretty much everything that my dad does. It's just, my dad realized like so far into his young years that he was literally not gonna last. Like he knew it. He knew what he wasn't gonna do. I don't know. It's like that's what he thought. That's what he thought. Like, he realized that like his own mortality, basically, like so quickly and so young, that it changed him forever. It changed whatever he did and however he did it. It changed him for a very, very long time to come, and that made him basically into the person that he is today. And I'd say that my ambitions don't align with those sometimes, because I myself don't find mortality to be so close, I guess. And maybe it's only because wars are happening far away, and there's only like a couple of murders every other day, and in New Orleans sometimes that won't ever reach the news because it's just annoying as shit. And oh, they don't want to seem like there's too much crime, and it's just like, yeah, it seems like there's too much crime, and when people get here, they'll seem like it's too much crime. That's the reason why people stay at the hotels. I think what people don't understand is the more you try to cover something up, the more people are going to see it. And my ambitions want to constantly tell people to invest in their community and invest in people that can protect them, and people that can keep an order sometimes, because the more that they want that, the more that they push for that, the more that they need that, the more they're going to realize that there are people out there that don't like you just for who you say you are. And just, that's it sometimes, and it sucks. It really does. And I'd like to say that I'm different, but sometimes I don't like people, like, just because the way that they say something to me, or the way that they try to say that they want to fight me, or the way that they try to say that, oh, it's funny what you're saying and doing because it doesn't mean anything to me. God dang it! Almost got him. It doesn't mean anything to me. So, whatever. And then it's like, God dang it! I can't see the reticle. I really wish it was red. Got him. And when you find out those sorts of things, it's daunting. Because you're like, man, I really wish you guys would stop being stupid and realize that the more the more you walk around with guns on your waist, the more people are gonna be like, that guy's got a gun on his waist. That's the reason why he's standing like that. it's like the more you try to say that you're gonna hold the block and keep your neighborhood the way you want it to be, realize the more that it'll change. The more it's like my dad said that life is like a grain of sand. The more you try to hold on to it, the more it just slips through your fingers. The more you try to just grasp it, and your hand can be taken away with the wind at any time. And that wasn't just something to screw with me. It was something to say that people, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how you say it, sometimes just want to go another way. And people, the more you grasp onto them, the more you hold them, the more you try to push them to do something great, the more they'll want to do something mediocre because they think that everyone's doing something great, so why can't they just relax? And they can do that. They can just relax because there are plenty of people doing things that are great. But that's not who I am sometimes, is someone who just wants to relax. And I have to remind myself sometimes to breathe. And also to go to the bathroom because, you know, that stuff. Because I play video games for on end and so many different things. I really wish that, and that's a daunting thing to be able to see when you're like 15 years old, and you're trying to see someone for who they really are, or trying to say that. God dang it. I found out very young that the world isn't everything. And people are gonna have to find out soon enough that their world isn't everything either. Or they're gonna have to find out soon enough that the world is gonna reject them. No matter what it's gonna do, no matter who it's gonna be around, no matter how it's gonna be, no matter the way people are gonna interpret things, they're always gonna go home. People aren't just waiting outside of your door, knocking and waiting. You have to be able to keep their attention for a very long time, and in some ways it's completely unnatural. It's completely unnatural to do any of those things. To try to ascertain someone's attention, to be able to make them do something that you want them to do. Because that's all it's for. You have to realize it's an art form of manipulation, and it's really what it is. Anything can be turned into propaganda. Even someone's actual and real feelings. And that's the reason why I'm afraid sometimes to share my ambitions, or to share the things that I actually want to share, because I'm afraid that people will use them against me, or use them against someone else, or use them against anything. So the more that I stay silent sometimes, the less people get hurt. And that's the reason for silence, I guess. In places that people would actually think are, like, the more people they find out, like, oh, well, it's not living in fear, though. It's living in solace. And the more you want to find out things about someone, or the more you want to say something about someone, the less you can find, because or the more you want to find out about a business, I guess, the less you'll find unless you start looking, unless you start having those adventures. A lot of people get put back down, or say that they're not gonna. When something happens to them, they just give up, because they think that all the rest of the other experiences that they have are going to be tied to that one experience. But understandably so, that's not everyone in a nutshell. And people want to say that everything's in a nutshell, or anything's in a nutshell, because we're all living under someone else's rule or someone else's thing. It's just like,
look at that.
It's not the case.
You gotta love rural America.
He just ran over an animal, or I just ran over an animal playing as this character. But the more you start to realize that there's a whole world out there of ambition and reasons and things and a whole bunch of stuff that just, you can build on so much, and you can build on everything that you really want. And that's the adventure sometimes that really pushes me to making and creating things, and to actually find an outlet to where I can actually express those things. Because, I mean, in order for you to bounce ideas off yourself, or to say that you like to do something and you want people to appreciate what you're doing, then you should really give it a try. You should really try having your own, like, metaphorical adventures, and realize that not only everything can be safe and fun for everyone, but not only can things be fun and safe for everyone, but they can be, oh my god. God damn it, no, I'm gonna fall more. I found that the more you try to push an agenda, the more you're gonna feel like that agenda is controlling you. And the more you're under someone that you don't really want to be under, or that you're playing with, or you think that it's funny to mess with their feelings, the more you're gonna realize that those people's feelings are worth more to you, not unplayed with, or unmessed with. The more you're just curious, and the less you're trying to enforce your will, or enforce other people's will onto someone else or something else, the more you're able to find out that the world can be something beautiful, and it can be something peaceful at the same time. But people want to associate things with things. People want to associate their brand with an emotion, with something, or whether they want to push something on someone. And when you start to push something on someone, or the more you start to push something on someone else, and they don't like it, or they don't want it, the less they'll be around you. The less they'll want to be with you on something. When they don't see how one-dimensional or how three-dimensional you could be, when in actuality you're just playing around with something that you thought could be cool, and when it turned out to be something different, you just decided to stick with it because you thought that someone would think it was cool, or someone would think it was great. And you're right, someone will think it is great. But people want more than just one thing. They want more than just one ideal. They are more than just one ideal. Like, they're made up of literally more than just one iota of energy. And the more energy you put into an object, and the more matter that object attains while it's moving through space, the more nuances of physics and things affect it, the more things come off of it, and the more things like light bounces off of it constantly, right? people don't realize how dynamic and how genius this environment, or any environment, really is. They don't understand where those things actually come from, and they think that that reality itself is built around them, or they realize that, or they try to believe that they're the main character in their own story. And I've been a victim to it, and I've actually tried to realize certain things, and so in some ways I've realized that I'm not the biggest thing in a picture, and then other people need to realize that I've run into two different types of people sometimes. Two different types of people of varying differentiations. People who are always about whatever life they're in, or always about whatever situation they're in, and people who are afraid of whatever situation they're in. And there are different variations of what complicates or even sees different things. Whenever you see different things, I guess, whenever you understand that there are different variations of every single situation that you could possibly even understand, then you'll start to realize and start to understand that if there are that many different variations of what you think there are, then think about how many different variations of what that person goes through, or what that person experiences on a molecular level, or on a, because we're all just molecules. That's what we are. We're just molecules experiencing ourselves, basically, and experiencing this planet, because obviously if we were this planet, then we would actually know what the fuck was going on all the time, because every single time there's an earthquake, everybody's like, oh my god, what do I do? Stuff like that. Or whenever there's a bomb that hits, everybody's like, oh my god, I have to run and hide. They wouldn't realize that the physics of something that moves towards something else, and they would realize exactly where to stand and how to stand in order to not get hit by the explosion, but also not get hit by the debris as well. That's literally what would happen every time if people were this planet, or were any sort of star system. We're literally fungus. Everyone is literally just parasites. We're all feeding off this planet and everything that it gives to us. And everything that constantly lands, that's not us. Or we constantly say that everything is on the top of the food chain, or we try to say that we are the food chain, or we are this thing. It's like, how many colors of us are even available? Do we even know? Like, do you even realize how many other planets there actually could be with life on them, constantly just floating away from us and toward us and around us? Realizing that there are so many different variations of what we could actually call carbon-based life forms, because no one else calls it carbon-based, because we made that fucking word up. We made everything up. We made up God, we made up the devil, we made up everything. We made up all of it. And that's where ambition comes in, because with all that information, and with knowing every single amount of what every calculation is, people think that they have to force their will on something to be able to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes that they did while they were young. But understandably so, if they didn't go through those mistakes, if they didn't have those mistakes, they wouldn't have anything to be able to teach. If they didn't have those nuances of subtle inconsistencies, they wouldn't be able to say, hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't do these things. With all that ambition that goes through with young people and old people, like, you have to realize that inconsistencies and different things happen. Literally, a temperature change could change the way things fall to Earth. It's like, do you really think in the Arctic Ocean, or in the Arctic Sea, or in the Arctic Circle, that things that fall down like meteorites ever even start to burn through our atmosphere if they're close enough, like asteroids and stuff like that? Do you think they still burn up? Or do you think they just freeze and drop? Do you think that's the way that people got land in the first place? Like, they just had a piece of water just floating through the air, and then a grain of dirt got caught in that water, and then that water itself decided that it was going to... And we're getting into whatever creationism is, because people don't say that you can, oh, don't play God. It's just like, we're not going to play God. You can be one. Just realize that without our atmosphere, literally all the physics that involves a planet is affecting everything without our atmosphere. And you can make tiny planets with little tiny things on them. And they've probably already done it. Because that's why they're keeping everything secret. Because they don't want anybody in religion to know. Because they're going to be like, blasphemy! And everybody's going to be like, shit, why did this happen? There's bombs everywhere. Oh my god, we're all going to die. No. Either we already all did, or we're all just experiencing this over and over again in a chain. Because, obviously, energy itself is attracted to matter. And that's why matter itself moves away, to be able to give itself time to be able to not combust. So within itself, you have to realize that with ambition, it comes literal energy you put into something, like or time you put into something, like a drawing. You put energy into doing something. You take matter and you put it on other matter, and you try to make something artistic. You try to make something that mimics life, and it understandably is life because it's material. Because the ions are, and indefinitely what is life? Because, oh man, there's so much shit. I gotta go. Have a good day, and you are your own metaphorical one-man bomb squad. You can defuse situations before they happen. You can make stuff better, and you can do things that you think are the way that you really want them to be. But also realize the reasons why people keep things secret is to not panic. And to not say that, oh my god, these things are being made. It's just like, guess what? They probably had already been made for billions of years. And that's the reason why we're fucking here. Alright? So do that. Think about that. Think about the reasons why that old computer from like Greece or whatever is even in existence at all. Think about that shit. Think about that old little turny dilly thing that has a whole bunch of different clocks and can like measure the sun and different things like that. Realize all that shit happened way before Jesus was born. Before Jesus was born. Literally 2,000 years ago. Doesn't that blow your mind that even before a so-called Messiah was here, that there's something to be able to do something with? That's more, I believe, interesting than anyone who says that they can heal all your wounds or create eternal life, because you can create your own eternal life with that. Be better and realize that we are gods. We are all the gods that we wish we were. Or we could just make up something and then be that. We take on personas with names every single time. I'm Joseph. So it's like, you know, that whole stuff. I get that whole stigma of like, oh, you must be a really, really nice guy. And I'm like, yeah, I am, but I'm also like somewhat of a douchebag sometimes. I'm not going to be like the best of friends to you. I'm going to try to make you realize your own errors and realize that yeah, sometimes people fuck up, and I'm a douchebag. I really am. I'm a douchebag sometimes. I'm not like, I don't argue a lot. I don't like to, but whenever my opinion comes around, whenever my opinion about something comes around, I try to make people see it my way, and I know they're not, and I still try to argue the fact and try to say that maybe if I push my agenda, then maybe people will actually just see where I'm coming from instead of just pushing me down in the dirt and expecting me to not get up, because I'll get up. Even if they use a gun. It's one in their pants, like a pea shooter. Because that's what that shit is. And that doesn't make you. So, it's the reason why I don't think that people really need to... I think that people really need to start looking at themselves introspectively. And then just start saying, where do I believe in something? Where do I see in something? And how can that inspire something for me to be able to create what I want to create? Because that's what we start doing as soon as we get here. We start playing with blocks, we start playing with stuff. People start putting stuff in front of us. We start using our minds to be able to see what it is. As soon as it's taken away, we're like, no, why did you take that away? Then we fall asleep. We try to eat stuff constantly because we try to find out what it is, because we're trying to constantly look for stuff, but we're also trying to constantly consume because we think that everything is partially energy. So it's like we're smart, but we're dumb at the same time. But it's an introspective way of looking at things, and people don't understand the ways that these worlds, or that this world itself works. And I'm gonna go blow something up to actually make sure that you know, because some people don't realize this is because wars sometimes were fought and won without a single bullet or a single life being lost sometimes, and people don't understand the reasons why. And it has a lot to do with oh, you son of a bitch. There we go. I think the most of what you really need to understand, of what you really need to realize is the true nature of things, is I shot the goddamn motorcycle. Okay, let's blow it up. Blowing it up, blowing it up, blowing it up, blowing it up.
This is way insane.
Yeah!
Citizens report a 996 north of
Celebration.
the Yellow Jack Bar.
Celebration. Alright. Have a good day. And, that's what I believe, man. You have to realize a belief can get you somewhere. A belief gets you to somewhere where you can heal. Where you can heal and have time. And when you have time, you can realize and make sure that you understand the real reasons why you wanted to do or wanted to think in a different way. Somewhere along those lines, you realize that what you were thinking about wasn't true, and you didn't know shit, and you had to get the fuck out. So realize that shit, and realize that there are things that people don't understand sometimes, and when they don't understand it, it's dangerous, and things get fucked up. And when they try to camp, they burn themselves, or when they try to escape from a freaking dictator and a stupid fucking war, or because war is stupid, because it's very stupid. I believe in being prepared, but I also believe in avoiding confrontation in all of its forms sometimes, because I'm an introvert and at heart, and that's the reason why I do things. But realize you are your own one-man bomb squad, and metaphorically, you can defuse situations before they happen. And if you have not enough time to get somewhere or to do something, then make some time somewhere else, and be someone's better. And don't just say things about people, you know, because people get mad and don't want to talk to you anymore. And when that happens, you get validated somehow in the fact that people didn't want to talk to you. What does that even mean? Who's that? Who is that? What does that even do? Who is that even? What does that even say about you as a person? I guess, you know. Because I'm a party to it sometimes, but I have to realize that within my own ambition lies a selfishness. And when a selfishness is put there, I want to create something to be able to pay attention to me. When I say that I want people to pay attention to me, I'm saying something kind of profound, but also kind of selfish and ignorant and also arrogant as well. Because there's so much shit. I don't care. Whatever. See ya. Have a good day.